2 weeks after her baby died in a car wreck, a mother shares her grief. Washburn officials announced results of their investigation into a reported rape on campus. The leader of Topeka's economic development groups is stepping down. What's next? Plus, honoring families whose loved ones gave the gift of life, and why this chip off a famous block is causing a masterful stir in Abilene. Good evening, I'm Melissa Bruner.
And I'm Ralph Hipp. Tonight here at 10, a mother shares the pain of losing her young baby girl. 1-month-old Kaysen Harris was killed 2 weeks ago in a collision along Highway 24. 13's Ariana Cohen has spoken with mother Bree Emery, who is behind the wheel. Ariana?
Bree Emery is still in the hospital recovering from a broken jaw, broken pelvis, fractured elbow, and 2 collapsed lungs. But with her 3-year-old daughter by her side, Bree told me the most pain comes from reliving her baby's final moments. Bree Emery still gets flashbacks of the day she lost control of her car and collided with this pickup.
The last part of the wreck I saw, I looked directly in the guy hit's eyes. I just remember looking at him. And then a bunch of people coming to help. That's really all I remember, but the memory I get the most is my daughter taking her last breath on my chest. That's the one I always see at night.
Bree called her father from inside the car right after the crash. A paramedic by training and dad at heart, he raced to his daughter's side.
And I asked where Kaysen was. And one of the firefighters said that she was in another ambulance.
The ambulance rushed Bree and her baby Kaysen to the hospital. When doctors told Bree her baby may not make it, she asked if she could hold her one last time.
And so I got to hold her while they took her off life support. So I got to hold her until she took her last breath and her heart stopped beating.
Kaysen was 27 days old.
I can't imagine a mother losing her child, and my child lost her child. I want to take that all away. You know, I don't want her to hurt.
I do wonder why it had to be her or us, but I know that it was for a reason. That reason I don't know, but one day I'll understand, and if I don't, then I know that God will give me peace.
Peyton suffered injuries and has fully recovered. As far as problems with a GoFundMe account set up by an acquaintance, the family says they will be receiving some of the money. Some people received refunds. If you would like to donate to the family, they have a new GoFundMe page. You can find that link on WIBW.com.
Ariana, thank you. And the Kansas Highway Patrol is still investigating the wreck this week. They said there is no conclusive evidence that Bree was on her cell phone at the time of the crash. Topeka's economic development organizations are ready to launch a nationwide search for new leadership. Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce and Go Topeka President and CEO Doug Kinzinger announced today he will step down effective July 1st. In a news release, Kinzinger did not say why, but said it was not an easy decision. He's proud of Topeka's progress during his 14 years at the helm and felt it was an appropriate time. Chamber Chairman Brent Bowles told 13 News that Kinzinger is leaving for personal reasons. Bowles says the groups look to continue forward momentum.
We're going to sit back and make sure that our organizations are pointed in the right direction and find the leadership and the structure that we need to make sure that we can continue the many things that we've accomplished.
They've got a number of projects that are in process, and they're reaching out to all of those prospects today. So no, I don't think we're going to lose any momentum.
According to an IRS filing required of certain tax-exempt groups, Kinzinger was paid $146,000 a year for his work with the chamber, $211,000 for Go Topeka, plus nearly $50,000 more in benefits. A chamber spokesperson says no taxpayer dollars are involved. The Go Topeka salary is paid with private contributions, while his chamber salary is paid through a combination of membership dollars and private contributions.
On the county scene, Shawnee County Commissioners tomorrow plan to consider privatizing operation of the coroner's office. 3 contracts on their agenda tomorrow would keep Dr. Charles Glenn as coroner through an independent contract agreement with Mid-America Forensic Pathology, providing some additional related services. The big change in all this would make office staff employees of Mid-America Forensic Pathology rather than of Shawnee County. Information provided to commissioners states the contracts are budget neutral, though transitioning the workers would still cost about $25,000 to make that shift. If it's approved, 5 staffers would have their county employment end at the close of business May 26th, about 5 more weeks from now. County commissioners signed a 4-year deal with Dr. Glenn last June at a salary of near $185,000. A Topeka man sentenced on child pornography charges. 43-year-old James Greer sentenced Tuesday to 6.5 years in federal prison for the distribution of the child porn. In his plea, he admits an officer working with an FBI task force in Kansas City had used the internet to download child pornography from his Topeka computer. A forensic exam of Greer's computer revealed about 900 images, 290 video files containing child pornography.
It has been another night of protests in Baltimore, where demonstrators are angry over the death of a man from injuries he sustained in police custody. Baltimore police kept all but a few protesters from breaching concrete and metal barricades near the city's Western District Police Station. Freddie Gray died 3 days ago, a week after his arrest was captured on video. An autopsy said the cause of death was a severe spinal injury. Police say they don't know how that happened. The 6 officers involved are suspended with pay. Protesters want them charged with murder. Authorities continue investigating the circumstances surrounding a woman found unresponsive at Prairie Band Casino and Resort. 13 News received a tip from a viewer this morning that a body was found and tribal police responded. Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation officials confirmed a woman was found early this morning having trouble breathing and unresponsive and was taken to a Topeka hospital. A written news release issued this afternoon did not state her condition, but a tribal official at the scene this morning told 13 News a person did pass away. An investigation is ongoing.
Washburn University's President Jerry Farley says no university sanctions would be issued regarding that reported campus rape recently. Dr. Farley announced the decision in an email to faculty and staff. The incident reportedly happened on the 11th of February in Carroll Chapel. The privacy laws prevent him from disclosing details about the case, but he says the university's Title IX investigation did include some interviews with both the parties involved, witnesses, and communications like emails and texts and posts on social media, as well as the use of campus surveillance video. In addition to determining that no university sanctions are warranted in this, Dr. Farley's email notes that Shawnee County DA is declining to prosecute or file any charges, and Washburn police concluded the allegation posed no ongoing threat on the campus. At KU, they say drug-related offenses are to blame for the big increase in campus crime. In Lawrence, KU's public safety office reports a nearly 25% increase in KU campus crime over the 2013 to 2014 period. Officials say they handled 834 criminal offenses last year. It had been 670 the year before. They attribute the rise of drug-related offenses to the KU public safety effort, training student housing employees, and they're being trained to recognize illegal activity and find and identify drugs. Officials say violent crime was only up 1% of all the crimes that were reported.
A search warrant netted Riley County authorities a stash of drugs and cash and a stolen trailer. Authorities arrested 54-year-old Randy Siebold of Riley on several drug charges. Police searched a property on Bala Road last night. They say they seized more than 80 grams of meth, 70 grams of marijuana, several firearms, and cash they suspect is related to drug sales. Officers also recovered a trailer that was reported stolen from El Dorado. It was valued at $13,000. A local women's health center can begin to deliver babies again. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment today reinstated the license of the Birth and Women's Center. The state put it on emergency suspension in February, citing concerns over taking on high-risk patients and not transferring clients to other facilities when needed. KDHE said today it did approve an agreement between the center and Stormont Vail to transfer patients if more intensive care is needed. However, due to insurance concerns, the agreement no longer allows the center to do vaginal births after cesarean, also known as VBAC.
Area families have been honored tonight for giving the gift of life. Stormont Vail, Midwest Transplant Network, and the Kansas Eye Bank recognized organ donors and their families from this past year, each receiving a rose and a certificate, and the donors' names are engraved on a plaque. They heard from Cassandra Romine, whose mother was saved by an organ transplant. Organizers say it's so crucial for families to know their loved one's gift does not go unnoticed.
There are other families out there who had to lose a loved one in order for somebody else to live, but it's it's a chance. I've had some people tell me it helps them heal a little bit, knowing that their loved one was able to help somebody else.
And it remains about 123,000 Americans are waiting for organ transplant. Every organ donor can save 8 lives, while a tissue donor could touch the lives of more than 50 people. Tonight, Kansas Democrats held face-to-face meetings with voters at the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library. The meeting allowed the constituents to ask their legislative leaders everything from issues with the state budget, taxes, and furloughs for state workers, and many more. Legislative leaders said the event tonight was a great way for voters to have that face-to-face and personal meeting with their constituents and understand the issues affecting them from the legislature. Brian Welch, the publisher and editorial director of Ogden Publications, announced this morning that he is resigning. On his Facebook page, Brian said he'll be heading up a development of a multi-platform media company. He began Ogden Publications almost 20 years ago. Among its works are Mother Earth News and Mother Earth Living. Wounded, transitioning soldiers at Fort Riley received help on their job searches today at the job fair we're going to show you. Nearly 90 employers packed into the post-conference center to speak with them and do interviews, even hire some of those on the spot who've served our country. Many of the recruiters on hand were former members of the military themselves. They know the importance of hiring veterans. Last year, Hiring Heroes workshops prepared more than 1,200 servicemen and women and veterans and their spouses for that transition into the civilian workforce. The Aaron Douglas Art Fair panel today announcing Jordan Brooks is the featured artist this year, the 10th anniversary coming up. Jordan Brooks is a lifelong Topekan, inspired to become an artist by his mother and by Mr. Aaron Douglas himself. The art fair that bears Aaron Douglas's name will be Saturday, the 26th of September, right here. The Art Fair Committee is having an unveiling party for Brooks. That'll be at PT's Coffee, 6:30 Friday evening. The weather's been a bit cool. We had some sunshine. And Melissa, we do have some big changes on the way.
Jeremy Goodwin's in the Weather Center to take a look at that. Jeremy?
Hi, Ralph, Melissa. We saw temperatures only topping out in the upper 50s this afternoon in northeast Kansas. Tomorrow a little warmer, and then Friday a risk of severe weather, possibly even tornadoes in our area. The warmest locations were Manhattan and Emporia, both making it to 60. Lawrence had 59, Manhattan 60, 56 in Concordia this afternoon. Those temperatures are way below average. An average high for today would be about 69 degrees. We were some 10 degrees below that number. The morning low today, 37, also below average and nowhere near a record high of 94 or the record low of 26. Outside now, it is mostly clear and calm. That view is from the Capitol Federal Sky Cam on Quinton Heights Hill, looking toward the Capitol Dome in downtown Topeka. Currently 48 degrees. The winds are calm and temperatures are cool everywhere in the upper 40s right now. On our way to upper 30s for lows, and that is somewhat below normal for this time in late April. Here's the satellite and radar across the entire state. Mostly clear in our part of Kansas, seeing a few rain showers in extreme northeastern Colorado and storms from Oklahoma down into Texas. Some of those have been severe today. Now, as we check out the forecast headlines, first of all, it will be cold again tonight with temperatures dropping into the mid and upper 30s across the area. Hiawatha, Salina, or Hiawatha, Seneca, over to Sabetha, maybe dealing with some patchy frost tomorrow morning with the temperature that cold. And then tomorrow, just a beautiful Thursday, 60s and sunshine. And then Friday, we have this risk of seeing severe storms. There is the risk of seeing tornadoes, as a matter of fact, on Friday as well. This is a picture of a tornado this evening on WIBW.com/tracklive. I have that on my Facebook wall if you want to check that out as well. But some amazing tornado video from today in parts of Texas near Plainview. They were dealing with that. Here's Supercast showing the severe storms on Friday. Not tomorrow, but Friday. By 5 p.m. this activity will start to move in. We'll have some of these storms rotating at times and certainly the potential for large hail damaging winds and, yes, tornadoes. This is the scariest feature here is this warm frontal boundary. Just south of it, the winds coming in from the southeast and fairly strong. That's in the afternoon and evening. And that will stay very close to I-70 right across northeast Kansas through the evening hours on Friday, even into the wee hours of the morning Saturday. Now above that, we're going to see the jet stream winds coming in straight out of the southwest at about 150 to 170 miles per hour. That's 5 to 6 miles up in the sky, but at the top of the storm clouds, winds going one direction. Bottom of the storm clouds, we'll see the air coming in a different direction, and that will cause some rotation in these storms and certainly yields the potential for tornadoes on Friday, especially in the evening across our region. 67 degrees tomorrow. We'll see a High temperature of 67 on Friday as well. The severe storm risk will be in the evening hours Friday for the most part. The next update from the Storm Prediction Center on our specific risk here will come out at 1 o'clock in the morning. I will post it on WIBW.com and Facebook late tonight, so check that out if you're still up.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that.
Well, another high school standout could soon decide where he's headed to the next level.
Chris Lilly's here a little later to tell us where Malik Newman will be taking his basketball talents. And Lori Hutchinson right after the break with a little girl, Charlie, a young lady looking for her forever family. We'll meet her at Yak and Yarn next.
You're watching 13 News at 10 with Melissa Bruner and Ralph Hipp. 13 News, Kansas News Leader. You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Wow, for 12 years now, we've been introducing you to children who need to be adopted.
All very special. There are Wednesday's children, and tonight Lori Hutchinson tells us about Charlie and her need for a loving family.
Yak and Yarn in Fairlawn Plaza is a store for folks who like to knit, crochet, weave, and do needlework. Some even yak as they work, and that's just fine with our Wednesday's child. Her name is Charlie, and she's 12. She tells us she likes the 6th grade, mostly because of her friends.
I just like to hang out with them and talk to them. Just whatever comes up.
Away from school, Charlie likes to dive into books or water.
I like to swim, read. The books I like are kind of like, they're not like real books, but they're stuff like The One and Only Ivan and Peter Pan and stuff. My favorite TV shows is probably going to be the shows that they show on Disney Channel now.
How are you doing over there? Okay?
That's right. Being in foster care leaves the future uncertain for kids like Charlie. She needs to be adopted by someone who will give her a hand and warm her heart. Here's how she describes a good family.
Probably being able to listen to music and having a pet. I guess maybe a dog. It'd be pretty nice. Just go out, watch to the movies and watch a movie. Go to the pool.
And give Charlie a safe and loving place to forever call home. Lori Hutchinson, 13 News.
A sweet young lady. To learn about Charlie or any of the other children in need of adoption, contact Kansas Children's Service League. The number's on your screen. You can also log on to their website or check out the KCSL Facebook page. And a special thanks to Karen Taylor, the owner of Yak and Yarn.
How the Eisenhower tree, a piece of it, got to Abilene, Kansas, and how that famous tree got its name coming up in sports.
Also, the Royals back in action trying to break out the brooms and sweep the Twins. We'll check the score next in 13 Sports.
Sports with Chris Lilly.
Hello everyone, the Kansas City Royals wrapping up their series against the Minnesota Twins, and they're trying to break out the brooms. To Kauffman Stadium we go, and Jeremy Guthrie on the mound, and he would struggle early. With 2 on, Brian Dozier to center field, and Torrey Hunter scores. 1-0, the Royals down. And Kenny Varias down the right field line, that's fair, and Joe Mauer, he will come around to score. Now it's 2-0. Guthrie beats Oswaldo Arcia, and that makes it a 3-0 game. And the Royals, they would have opportunities. Lorenzo Cain with 2 on, nope. That's a double play. And Eric Hosmer with the bases loaded can't bring anyone home either. The Twins take this one 3-0. The class of 2015's best point guard might be ready to pick where he's going to school. CBS Sports is reporting that Newman will be commit to Mississippi State later in the week. Newman is a 5-star prospect from Callaway High in Jackson, Mississippi. He had Kansas, Kentucky, and some other big-name colleges in his list of top schools. Ben Howland is the new coach for Mississippi State. And today, a piece of the Eisenhower tree was unveiled at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Presidential Library in Abilene, Kansas. But how did it get to Kansas, and how could a tree be so famous? The Eisenhower tree got its name from the United States' 34th President, Dwight D. Eisenhower, because he was not able to get around the massive tree on the 17th hole at Augusta National. Eisenhower was also a club member at Augusta National and would try to save his game by getting rid of the tree.
And he just couldn't get past it without it, and it just became his nemesis. So in 1956, when he was president, he went to a club meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he stood up and asked the club to consider cutting the tree down. Well, they didn't want to tell him no. I mean, he was the president of the United States, so the chairman ruled him out of order and promptly adjourned the meetings.
Then a big freeze came in February of 2014 and killed the nearly 100-year-old tree, and that brought up the question, what next?
The Eisenhower tree is irreplaceable in terms of its historical significance. I am pleased to announce that we have been successful so far in preserving this famous tree's genetics.
After years of frustrating golfers at Hole 17 at Augusta National, the historic tree and former president would once again be reunited at his own presidential library.
You would not believe the number of letters and emails we received in February of 2014 when the news broke that an ice storm had brought down the Eisenhower tree at Augusta National, and everybody wanted us to know and see if we could get a part of it.
It took the work of some inside help to come to the aid of Kansans that loved the Eisenhower tree.
But we had a former employee who worked here who was hired by Augusta National, their historian. And he's the one who talked about recovering portions of the tree and making it an object that would be on display in the presidential library.
And you can go see that part of history in Abilene, Kansas right now. And that's it for sports. Ralph and Melissa, back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that is the William Snyder. Bill, he goes by William Snyder, the one from the Abilene Eisenhower Library. Finally got him on sports.
The other Bill Snyder.
That's right.
We'll be checking back with Jeremy on those storm chances next.
This is your 13 weather forecast.
Temperatures will be cool tonight, dropping into the upper 30s and low 40s. Here's what we have outside now. The sky is mostly clear from the Parish Hotel's camera on Huntoon Hill. We are expecting to see a low of 39 in the capital city tonight, 67 tomorrow, and then severe storms are likely on Friday, late afternoon and evening. Large hail damaging winds and even tornadoes will be possible late in the day on Friday. We have a chance of rain Saturday and Sunday as well, but those rain chances don't look to come with any severe weather.
Topeka Zoo's newest resident glad to be out of her travel trailer in her new home. This is Abby, who arrived last night after that 12-hour trip from Albuquerque.
Zoo Director Brendan Wiley says she is settling in, and you can see her hopefully perhaps this weekend. You can see more of Abby online. Also a pretty cool photographic project at the zoo today. That is also on WIBW.com too. Have a good night.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports on WIBW.com or follow WIBW on Twitter and Facebook. WIBW TV, Heartland Regional Emmy Award for Evening Newscast.